Okay, so I've got the shell of my building, the outer walls, and some of the openings, the doors and the stairs as well. Even though all of those things still need to be adjusted, particularly the stairs, the walls are developed well enough so that I can start making the different roof shapes that we need and get this model or this envelope enclosed. And that's often something that you want to aim for as a starting point for any project. So you generally want to have obviously the outer walls, and then it's good if you have a site like we've made already, the topo surface. But then probably even more important than that, the floors. So I've got there a floor on my bottom level. Just drawn the wireframe so you can see that, but I'll go back to hidden line now, and you can see that I've got a floor on the upper level as well. And so now to enclose these spaces, I need to put a roof on top. I'll add a ceiling as well, but I'll start with the roof. And so then looking at the drawings, the levels that I've given you here in this tiny Setout dimensions file, they will work for you. But also have a look at the one that Alan did. You can see here, joined by Alan Linklater, who's one of my old fellow teachers. And so here, this one's called Old Terrace House Setup Drawing. And it doesn't really give you much more in the way of dimensions, but it's got different sections so that you can get a better idea of the roof construction. So make sure you've had a good look at those drawings and you understand the roof shapes that you're trying to make. And so then maybe starting with this drawing here, we can see that the level there, that's, I'm going to say, is this line here, coming all the way across these sections, you can see is 5 metres, 2,500 plus 2,500. So it's 5 metres from the lower floor level. Okay, and that's the level where the roof starts. So if we look at my drawing in Revit, I'll go first to I might just go to the plan actually, to the site plan, just to remind you of the direction of these elevations. So if I want to look at the side, starting again, the side that you enter from the street, we can see, looking at the site plan, that that's the west elevation. So over here, I'm going to double click on that arrowhead to open up the view. And we can see that obviously there we can see these levels, but the text is fairly large. So if you remember that little trick I showed you before, change the scale. Yeah, so if I make it 1 to 50. Yeah, or even 1 to 20, well 1 to 50 is probably okay. So there we can see the different heights a little bit more clearly. If we go to 1 to 20, it would even be better, but we don't want to go too far with this. Okay, so there I've got lower floor, and I'll just move that so that you can read the height. You can see there it's 300. So I'll just move back. And so then my upper ceiling that I'm going to use for the roof as well is 5,300. So that means the distance between those lower floor and the upper ceiling is of course 5,000. So that's correct. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to check to make sure that we're starting at the same point. And so then I'm going to open up the upper ceiling floor plan and make a roof. So I might actually open up Street View in a second as well, but you can see there you've got a bit of a funny one. You've got the roof there that's sitting on the wall, but then we've got this wall here that's covering that roof completely. So if that's the case, this wall must be rising up in front of the roof and covering it. So looking at the plan here, that means that if that's the wall that's covering the roof, then the roof must start behind that line there, or in line with the back of that wall. So now I'll go to the roof tool, roof by footprint. I'll change the roof type to generic 125 in properties over on the left. Yep. And then with define slope ticked on the options bar, I'm going to pick the bottom wall there, and then right away change the slope. So we'll have to just guess. I'm going to say 10 degrees. I don't know if Alan dimensioned this one. I'm assuming he wouldn't have. We've got the dimension there to the ridge, so we'll come back to that if we don't find the pitch anywhere, which I don't think is in any of these drawings. That's quite normal. Okay, so you won't always be given an angle. So in some cases you have to work that out, and I'll show you how to work that out in a moment. So there you can see that's the angle we're trying to achieve, but we don't know that angle until we come back and work it out later. So for now I'm just going to say 10 degrees. Yeah? Yeah, roof by footprint. Roof by footprint, which you've already done, and then you've gone back to the architecture tab. So just stay on the tab you're on, hit close there. Yeah, so just click roof and then roof by footprint. I don't know. Yeah, try to go to a different plan maybe, but I mean that shouldn't be too difficult. So, yeah, the one's called upper ceiling. Okay, so yeah, so if that isn't working for you, there's some basic problem with your file, so you need to have a look at that. Okay, so now I'm going to turn define slope off and attempt to pick the back of this wall. And you can see now I've got a problem. So, oh, did it go onto the back? But did the other one go on? Is the other one on the bottom? Are they joined? They're not joined. Oh, so then there's a problem with your walls. So I'll come and have a look at that in a minute. Yeah.
So do we have to press slope arrow first?
You've got to turn it off before you do the second one. So maybe just watch the way I do it and then have a go at it, because yeah, there's a few little things here that are going to be a bit tricky if I try to explain them all before I've done it. So you can see there, because basically what's happened, because I've picked with pick walls, because I've picked this one already, even if I pick the inside of this wall, it's going to put that line to the outside. That's the way it always works. And if I try to flip it, it's going to flip both of them. So pick walls won't work there unless there's a problem with your walls. And if it's working, actually, that's a problem. So I'll undo that. Okay, so instead of using pick walls, we need to use pick lines. One of those little tricks. You can't always use pick walls, even if you're picking a wall. So I've got to go to pick lines, and now I can pick the back of the wall. And I'm going to go around and pick the inside of the other walls. So here, here, and then this one. Yep, that's okay. And then over here as well. That's it. So I'll finish that. And then use trim to corner to join those lines together. Yeah, it'll be clear once you see that it's finished. I mean, that's what I was talking about before with this drawing. So here you can see that explains it all, but if you don't know, it's probably not that obvious. So see how there it's going to the edge, but then you've got the parapet covering it on that elevation. So there, that's, you can see what's happening. So I'm going to finish that now, tick to finish, and then show you in 3D how it's looking.
Can I ask,
Yeah.
I think exactly what you
Yeah.
use on my outside wall
Yeah.
has now gone into the inside, so how it goes internally instead of externally.
Yeah, that's right, because you need to look at the way you make the roof edges. Okay, so here.
You did exactly what you do, like pick the outside one and then the rest of the
But did you use pick lines or pick walls? Pick lines, so then you should be able to pick any side. But then did you use pick walls for the first one? use pick walls for the first one.
Isn't that what we do?
No, pick lines and pick walls are different tools.
Okay, but you did, okay. So
That's the whole point.
pick more, is that right?
So pick walls for the first one that has the slope, and then pick lines for all the others. Yeah, I'll come and have a look in a minute. So, yeah. Okay, so I've done that. So I've finished this roof, and now we can have a look at it in 3D. Okay, so the roof it's pretty much right actually, but the problem now is that this wall is obviously still rising up above this roof. So what you can try there is attach top base, and then choose the roof, and it'll bring it down correctly. Oh, attach top base. So if you select this wall, then you get the attach top base button, and then you can just choose your roof. Okay, so then to finish this off, and I'll give you a bit more time to work on this in a second. So, so now, to make it easier for me to see something similar to what's shown in this section here, I'm going to make a section, just like that. So this one here, we can see gives us enough, and in fact, combined with these measurements over on the left, that'll give us enough for the wall measurement and then the top of the roof. So, okay, so if I draw a new section, and just click 2 points for my section, and then either double click on the arrowhead, or in Project Browser you can open the section up, and you can see there it is.
Would you mind going over that again quickly?
Oh, to make a section?
No, not the section, the roof.
Oh, to make that roof again?
Yes, please.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'll delete it, and I'll make it again.
And show us how you're doing it. You would just the join button to make it so, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so upper ceiling, and then just click the roof tool, roof by footprint. So you want define slope turned on for the first one, and choose the bottom of that wall up on the options bar.
No, that's what.
Right, so then we can choose the bottom of that wall, and then change it to say 10, which we know is wrong, but we're going to fix it. And then change to pick lines, and then you can pick all the other edges. Now, sorry, what I missed there. Yeah, I forgot to turn define slope off, so yeah, you've got to have it turned off. Yeah,
What is it now?
because
It gives you the wrong.
that's what gives you the pitch of the roof. Yeah, yeah,
That's what I do as well.
yeah. You have to turn define slope off. Yeah. Okay, so you need the slope just on that first edge, and so now if I finish it, then in 3D, I'll select that wall now and attach top base and choose my roof. And so now I'll go to that section again, and so we can have a look in a bit more detail at these heights. So I've got there now, what is it? 1167 plus 232. Okay, so if we just add those together, so 1167 plus 232, 1399. Ah, Helen, what were you thinking? Oh, here we go, plus 75. Now let's just start with that, and then we'll bring it up the other 75 afterwards. You'll see why once it's done. Okay, so we've got then, so 1399. I think we can round that off and say 1400. Okay, so I want to establish that height now, but I don't want to make a level for it. So in my section, I'm going to draw a reference plane across that wall. Remember, that's where the roof is going to finish. Then I can select it and change it, and my maths must be a bit out, because let's see how that can be right. Oh no, it is right. Okay, so yep, that's right. 232 plus 1167, yeah, that's right. Okay, so my wall's just too low. That's okay. I've got to bring the walls up. That's okay. All right, so now, again, with that reference plane still selected, I'll change that dimension to 1400. Yeah. So then the parapet measurement must be... Oh, that's right. Okay, here we go. That's right. So they've got this parapet coming along here, which is... They've called it ceiling, but that's... Yeah, that's okay. And then we've got this one up here. That's fine. Okay, so the main thing is we've got this reference plane. Now, to make it not look too strange, what I'm also going to do is bring the parapet level up as well. So it should be, let's just do that calculation again. So 1167 plus 1183, so 2350. Okay, so I'm going to select that parapet level, and then I can just change the measurement here to 2350. That's better. I'll adjust that cropping region so that I can see a bit more. Yeah, and that looks better. Okay, so then I should be able to stretch that roof, but probably need to go to a different view. Yeah. So if you missed that, I've just gone to my other section, section 1, and then I'm going to select the roof, and using the arrow there, I can now stretch that to line it up visually. It won't snap, but you can do it by eye to line up with that reference plane. That's close enough. So the pitch ends up being 24.66. That's okay. Right, so that shows you that you can work out the pitch of the roof without needing to know the angle, as long as you know the heights. So you can see there I had the upper ceiling level already, and I made that reference plane to establish the height for the top of the roof. Oh, it was just too low before. Sorry. Oh, it's just because this wall would have been lower than the roof if I hadn't raised it. The parapet, there is no single parapet height, it varies. So that parapet level is, it's actually for the top of this ridge here. So at the moment, all of my walls go up to that height, but we're gradually going to bring those down. So maybe I'll bring this one down now.
Because we're all at the same height, I think, as well. I think we've all got that height.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and they're all going to vary. So, okay, so here, I'll bring this down. I might even make a level for that. And I'll show you a good trick for making a level. So here, this is called parapet, this level here, obviously. So I might rename it and call it ridge, because that's really what it is. So I'll call it 5 ridge. And then I want a new level. I'm going to make my scale here 1 to 50, so it's easier to read those levels. And so I'm sure you all know that you can use the level tool to make a new level, but a good trick there is to use the copy tool. Okay, so I'm going to select that level that I've made previously and then just click copy. And then bring it down, what was it, 1167 I think, but we can just double check that. So I'll just bring up the other drawing. So that's the ridge up there. So that's the level. They've called it parapet over here, but really I've called it ridge because that's a better word for it. Right? Probably not, no. No. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a parapet. So, yeah, you'd think so, but no, in this, it's just the peak of that, the gable. So it's better than calling it parapet though. So then this one now that I've copied down, it should actually be 876 below, not what I did. So I'll go and adjust it. Okay, so remember when you select the level, if it doesn't give you the measurements that you want, you can always draw in a dimension between those two levels. Okay, so remember this one, that's at the right height. So the one below, I want to move up. So you can see there, it should be 876 below that that highest level. So now I can just change it there to 876 and bring it up. And then I'll change that to parapet, or parapet. It's a bit of an unusual measurement, 6774.
Yeah, because on this one it's different. That's
What does it say
we
there?
use. That's the one
No, this is right. Yeah, I'm adding to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with those levels. See, I've got the same.
No.
So 7, 6.
The parapet we've got 6355, not 677.
Oh, so I did bring it up just then. Sorry. Yeah, I started with the same point, but I raised it up. Yeah, I did. Sorry? By using this. So by coming down, so here, this is the level that we did put in last time. Right, and that's the one you've got, but it's not really going to be useful for anything. So that's why I'm not going to keep it. I'm not changing any of the sizes, but again, it's just not useful to have that as a level. There's nothing built from it. So you're better off making this go to the parapet height, so that's 876 from that new parapet level. And then, I mean, we could keep the other level there if you like, but it's not going to help you at all. So again here, the most important thing is that you can see this level has a black arrowhead. Now there's a blue. So do you remember what that tells you when it's black? What it means is that there's no floor plan associated with it. So notice how I've got 1, 2, 3, 5 in my list of floor plans and ceiling plans. So is that a problem? Not at all. Do we need to ever draw on this parapet floor plan? Probably not. Okay, so have a think about the difference between levels and plans, because you don't always need a floor plan for every level. And this is a good example of that. Okay, so what I'll do now is show you why this level is still going to be a useful thing. So I can, maybe in the 3D view now, I'll select all of these walls. Now, they are all going to be slightly different later, but for now I'm just going to select all of those external walls except for the one that's attached to the roof. That one doesn't matter. But the other external walls there, you can see I've selected all of them. And now I can change their top constraint to that parapet level. Okay, can you see then that I've got the roof there sitting nicely below that wall? Okay, so then following on from there, you could do the next roof, maybe try that if you've got the first one working, but yeah, it's worth just checking that. So maybe I'll give you a bit of time just to get to that point, and yep, sure. Okay, so the important thing is the roof sits on this wall, it's got the parapet in front of it, and it's quite normal to to adjust your set out points and change the way you measure things as you go throughout a project. But yeah, as long as you're working from the same set out on the ground. So yeah, it should work. So anyhow, I'll give some time to try and get to that point.